So here's the thing about training for an Ironman, or training for a marathon, or really probably any endurance sport for that matter. You can run a long workout and it can go terrible. And you just think, well, God, if I can't do this distance, I certainly can't go further. I mean, this was awful. I feel like I want to die. I don't want to run any more steps than I've already run. So how am I going to run 2 miles or 3 miles or 4 miles further in my next long distance workout? And the truth is, you just got to hang in there because you never know. Angie and I ran 20 miles a couple weeks ago, and it was awful. I felt like I was going to throw up at the end, and really for most of the last 5 miles. And Angie was miserable, and we were both just kind of wrecked by it, and really started questioning whether we should do the marathon at all, which is still a valid question, actually. But this past weekend, just a couple days ago, we ran 22. Piece of cake. And the funny thing is, it shouldn't have been a piece of cake. Because for anybody who lives in Southern California, you guys already know it was crazy windy all weekend. And not a wind coming from any predictable direction. We got out of our car at PCH, and you start running, and we were running into the headwinds. We turned the hats around backward and just kind of committed to chugging along. And next thing you know, it's blowing us sideways. Blowing rocks off the mountains, hitting us. Ocean water's hitting us. And then it's suddenly, pushing us from behind. It felt like a hand under my butt, scooping me up and throwing me forward. It was the strongest wind I've ever run in, by far. And I did not want to get out of the car and do that workout. It just seemed like a disaster, right? I mean, 22 miles is going to be a 3-hour run for me under the best of circumstances. And with a wind like that, I just thought, how long is this going to take? How tired am I going to be? And it's supposed to be hot later in the day, so I really wanted to bail. And again, if Angie had said, like, Allie, you know what, I think we should skip this and go do yoga. Or we should watch movies. Or jump around on a trampoline. I would have said, sold, girl. But she didn't. To her credit, neither of us let the other off the hook. Got out of the car, just started trudging along. And the weird thing is, the swirly wind actually wasn't that bad. In fact, it may have even made things better. Because you really were only running into the wind at any given time for a few minutes. And then next thing you know, again, it would be coming from a different direction, or a mountain would be blocking it for maybe a quarter of a mile. And then it would switch up and come from somewhere else, and it kind of kept me distracted. It definitely kept me cool, oddly, because it was warm out, but when you're sweating and you just have this constant, very vigorous wind coming at you, it kept you pretty cool. So my first message is just that that training's going well, and if you ever get discouraged and get to that point where you're thinking, this just isn't going to work out, I'm not cut out for this distance, hang in there, because that's the thing about running, is you never know. You never know what's waiting in store for you. Maybe you tweak your diet a little bit, or maybe some of that kind of cumulative benefit of all the workouts you've been doing finally starts paying off. Then you suddenly have a great workout. You're all in again. And I'm definitely in that cumulative place right now, I think. I'm feeling really good after each workout, and I can't wait for the next one, even 2 days. I'm like, okay, I worked out this morning. When do I get to work out again? Which is a nice feeling. I've got the energy to pursue additional work, and it's not a burden like it was in the beginning. Like, oh my God, I already work out 5 or 6 days a week, and now I got to work out more than that. Seriously. But now it's something I want to do, and I can't wait to do. And so that's a really cool feeling. That said, I'm still not 100% sure that doing a marathon as you're training for an Ironman is a good idea. In fact, I would not recommend it to anyone. And not because it's so unpleasant right now, because it isn't. It's nice. I like running. But mostly because I think I'm going to pay a big price as far as the pain afterward and the taper leading up to it. For those of you who don't run long distances, usually taper for a couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, depending on who you are and what you like to do, to rest. And it makes an enormous difference. Seriously, it'll take a minute per mile off of my pace, that rest. And we're talking, you're just doing little runs, maybe 3 and 4 miles. You're only working out every other day. The day before the race, I don't even move if I can avoid it. I lay as still as possible. I don't get out of my pajamas. I read. I watch movies. I do nothing. You want to come to that start line as charged up as you can be, with your muscles loaded with glucose, ready to serve. So, the that's a good thing for the race itself, but it's a bad thing for a macro kind of training program that's overriding it like Ironman. So if I do that, I'm kind of losing 2 weeks of valuable Ironman training. Furthermore, if I really go all